Successful Bookkeeper Australia. So welcome everybody. Welcome for those that have attended live. Thank you for joining me today. And for those that are listening in and watching this recording at a later point, today we're going to be talking about how to establish a working relationship with new clients. So it's it's an important first start of the journey that you have with your new clients. So I'm joined today with Sharon Francisco. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, how you going?
Good. Thanks for joining me in this conversation today. And I'm hoping Deb will join us in a little while. She's just on the road at the moment, but yeah, hopefully she'll join in the conversation as well. So yeah, thank you everyone. Please share your videos. I'm love to see your faces on the screen. That would be great. And I've noticed Cecile is joined us today. Hi, Cecile. I haven't, well, we've spoken recently, but Cecile was my original my second Xero account manager after
Wayne Schmidt. Was
yeah,
it Wayne?
Thank you. Yeah. How could you forget Wayne? So so we go back a long way. So we've traveled a journey, and I just found out that Sharon's business, Strictly Ballroom, if I'm allowed to mention that, was also Cecile's was the Xero partner. So like we're all related, aren't we? Like it's all very.
Yes, we've all gone through the journey together.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't keep away from each other.
No, so it's awesome. So today, when we're talking about the client relationship, and especially the new clients, and a lot of these tips we can certainly bring into existing clients. It doesn't just have to be for new clients. It's good to revisit how you are onboarding a new client and how your relationship with that client has started off with. So I know Sharon's got a lot of input into this topic, and I'm sure Cecile will probably be able to chime in as well in a lot of aspects here as well. And anybody on the call today, feel free to either put any comments into the chat box on the Zoom or on the Facebook. Comment in there. We're monitoring those comments as well, so we'll bring them into the group and have that conversation. If you've got any questions over there, love to hear from you. Anybody that wants to come off mute at any time, just take yourself off mute, and I will see that your microphone is raring to go. If you've got some comments you'd love to make, but please, I've got a lot of people on the call. Love to see your videos if you're happy to share. So let's get started. So Sharon, perhaps do you want to get started with how you were onboarding your clients? You were the sales onboarding new clients person inside of your business, and how did you get through to probably just get them engaged in what your business was all about? How did you start that journey?
Yeah, I think to begin with, I guess to say that I wasn't nervous would be a lie. So I was quite nervous because obviously I'm not a bookkeeper. So I think I was always worried about being brought into a conversation about bookkeeping when I signed up my clients. And of course, what I did was have a team of bookkeepers that I would hand the work over to, which is essentially with my coaching program is what I'm teaching my clients to be able to do, to sign up clients, to hand them off to somebody else. And I know a big thing in the industry sometimes is that, well, but when I sign them up, they want me. It's really hard to transfer them over. And I think having that conversation right at the beginning is really important, to frame up that it may not be me that's doing that work. And I think the number one thing that I feel like, as far as
thanks, Dale,
was to be really clear about what the outcome is going to be. So Stephen Covey, I think it's his second habit in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is start with the end in mind. And I think when you start knowing like what it is, what sort of relationship you want from your clients, you can really set the expectations right at the beginning. And I'm going to be very unashamed in saying I think pure bookkeeping systems were the catalyst for me to be able to get my outcomes with that. So having the paperwork like I had a nice little presentation folder, and I had all the paperwork that I was going to go through. So I would set the expectations really early with the clients. So, and, I guess the way that I do it, even with bringing on bookkeepers, the way that I outline with new clients is this is the way we play the game. So I kind of make it a little bit fun and say, right, so this is how we play the game. And I'd go through, especially to begin with, because I was quite nervous with some of the things that Deb had put in some of the paperwork that I had to say. So I was a little bit nervous with that. So the paperwork was kind of my security blanket, if that makes sense. So I had the folder, and I'd actually go through the folder and say, okay, so this is how we play the game, and I would step them through. And I was really passionate about making sure that they paid their bills on time, and especially if they were going to be rescue work to begin with. So there was 10 hours up front. So we'd say what we do is we don't start work until we get that money paid into our bank account. So I guess my overall advice, so I'll stop talking and let somebody else talk, and I can talk into it a bit more later, is to get really comfortable with awkward conversations. So if it feels awkward for you to say, if you don't pay your bill, we'll stop working. Like, that's what I used to say. If for some reason you skip paying your monthly bill, we will stop work immediately. I'll give you a buzz and find out, what's happening. And if for some reason there was an issue with the transfer, we'll make sure that transfer goes through and we'll start work again. If for some reason you aren't able to pay that bill, we'll stop until you're ready to continue paying that. So just being really comfortable with talking about, usually people have an issue talking about money and being paid, because that's all about our value, right? We want to make sure that we are getting paid for the work that we're doing, as well as getting, the paperwork in time. That was another thing, and still another thing that I hear a lot, like, the clients aren't sending through the information that I need in time to get, the BAS lodged or the end of year stuff done. I'll keep ringing them. So it's setting those expectations really early and making sure that you follow a process to do that.
Yeah, and I love with the engagement letter that we do have in pure bookkeeping, and you mentioned that, is that we actually have, I don't know, 6 to 10, I'm looking at the document now, 6 to 10 steps of what our promise to our clients are. So, and Deb has always suggested with the engagement letter, step them through it. So actually read out the steps of what your promise to your clients will be. And that, there's around doing, giving information or lodging on time and asking the questions and following up. So there's a few different, if I just read out a few of them, just as examples. We'll meet the ATO deadlines, of course. We'll return your phone calls within 24 hours. We treat the trust you place in us as a privilege and confidentiality. We do abide by the Tax Practitioners Board. We'll advise you on, missing invoices or, non-deductible items. So there's a list of things that we promise to you as part of our commitment to the service that we bring to you. And Deb said, read out each one of these items so they know. So a lot of engagement letters, you just sign at the bottom. I agree to the quote. I agree to you doing my work. Yep, all good, sign away. But if you sit and put that time in to say exactly what we're going to do, then they get the, what we're all about and the expectations, as you said, Sharon. And then the list of the commitment from the client as well. So you will act with integrity and honesty. You will follow the systems that we set up, and whether it's, Xero or direct debits or HubDoc or whatever those systems are. You will provide tax invoices when we need them, when we've asked for them. You'll take responsibility to ensure that you keep everything under the tax office's guidelines. This is a good one. You understand that using the business bank account is not for personal use. So you start getting them used to the idea of what they need to do. We've got a list of, lots of different things that again, builds that expectations from the start. So there's no uncomfortable conversations 3 months later. Like, you know, you promised me, or, you know, I expected you to give the paperwork every week or every month or whatever. Oh, you didn't tell me that. Well, you know, our engagement letter sets it out, and, you know, read your way through it, and it just makes it so much easier to transition and to that, you know, to that expectation is going to be realised.
And I think it's in the way, oh, sorry, Katrina. It's in the way that you say it too, to go through. So I used to literally read those lines out to them. And then I love that we set up the expectations for them, for us. It kind of feels a bit cheeky, but we say, hey, this is what you can expect from us. And then at the end, and it's so much power in pausing, like having like a silent or a pregnant pause at the end and say, so is there anything on there that doesn't fit with you or doesn't resonate with you that you wouldn't be able to deliver for me, or that doesn't work for you? And then zip it. Don't say anything. Let them answer and say, okay, so good to go? Good to go. Okay. And I turn it around and I go, okay, so I'm going to sign here, because there's down at the bottom of that form, Katrina, is a little place to sign on either side. I go, I'm going to sign my bit, and I'll put the date. You sign your bit here. Good to go? Okay, excellent. So then in 3 months' time, when they don't get the paperwork through, you don't have to say, well, why didn't you get the paperwork through? You say, remember that commitment that we signed? Is there any reason why we can't adhere to that now? Is there anything that I need to do? And I'd always make it about me. Is there anything that I've done wrong for that to happen? Or is there anything that I'm doing that's not allowing for that to happen? Oh, no, I'm just being slack. Okay, so we need to come back to that, because I can't do my job, as I said at the beginning, to the best of my ability for my girls to be able to do the work to get the best outcome for you. So it kind of puts the onus off that awkward conversation onto the form, which I love.
Yeah. And I love that last one that we talked about just before we came on air, that was a bit of the curly one. And it is a commitment to them is, if you are happy with the services we provide, you will give consideration to referring to other clients.
So the way I used to say that, to make it so it's not awkward, because I found that a little bit awkward, I'd say, okay, so if you love the work we do and you think we're amazing, can you tell your buddies about us? That's how I used to do it. I'd make it kind of a bit fun rather than say, like as an official, like, sign that form to refer back to us. So I'd kind of just make it a bit more light, that one.
It's so much nicer putting it on the engagement letter and doing a face-to-face conversation with it, rather than on the bottom of your emails. I feel like, you know how you get business emails that says, if you like, you know, how we do stuff, then will you refer to people? Well, it's like, well, I need some personal connection. I need to be, you know, it doesn't feel as personal to me, as intimate as being asked that right from the start. So it's putting it in their mind at that time.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's great.
With the possibility of them saying, hey, I do actually have a couple of buddies that would love this. So you're getting clients off the bat right there.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's a great little form that I use, like with every sign up, I use that form. Yeah.
Love to hear from the audience. Is there any, you know, questions, or, you know, how are they going about it? Any contributions you'd like to add to this conversation around engagement letters and starting the process? No? That's okay. Cecile, you're welcome to come off mute at any time if you want to add to the conversation. Don't be shy.
No, I'm just trying. I'm waiting for permission.
Oh, no. Permission,
I can't. I can't reinforce how this process is important. I think the setting up of the expectations is part of the issues that we end up having. And to be honest, these days, I think we can only promise that we are going to deliver the service that we've been hired for, but the results really depend on the working relationship between them and us, which also, when you talk about the difference between deliverables and results, they're two different things. I can deliver my job, but I can't confirm that, I can't tell you that I will give you the results that you want if you don't participate in this relationship and in this way of working. And I think it's a great what I like about this as well is, as you say, Sharon, you can actually have the conversation when, you still haven't done that. Why are you not doing it? What's the problem? Do you need, how can I help you to be able to give me what I need so I can deliver my services? And if it doesn't work at the end, it's also part of the conversation. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. At some point, I would say there's only so much time you can spend with someone who's not willing to actually achieve the right thing. And that conversation about, leaving clients go is always horrible feeling, because we care so much about them. But I think because you set up that process and those expectations, I think this conversation can be done without really harming anyone or creating something bad. And maybe you actually get someone to change their mind and finally the process. But I think we need to, depending on the type of the clients that you get, you've got to think about what is, maybe also have that conversation as a why, what is currently happening that will basically block you from doing what I'm asking you to do as well. So you can identify with them as well. And then there's a process at these points where you can start coaching them, or if they have employees and the employees are not doing the right stuff. So I'll give you an example in my husband's business. One of the guy doesn't want to put his hours still on his calendar, on his agenda. And which means that by the end of the month, when invoices have to be created, there's always 3 or 4 days of chasing time to be able to invoice the employee. Everybody else has, jumped on into Minute Docs or Xero and going through this. He's the only guy who doesn't want to do that. So maybe at some point it's, do you want to have that conversation, or do you want me to have that conversation with that person? Because when you're an employer, sometimes you just don't want to have those confrontational sort of conversation as well. And you can take a really good sort of space. You can also become that coach as well, if the client is really dedicated to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. Some good points. I've got a lot of chat on the Zoom. People are looking for that template, so I've just popped the link up there. So if you are actually a licensee on the call, that link you'll be able to log into and get the document of the engagement letter. And Jacqueline's asked, do you use Practice Ignition? So it's probably a good point to be, because a lot of us do use Practice Ignition or some type of onboarding software. So you're not going to be face-to-face. You're not going to be across the desk to go through this exercise. But I think it's really important to still create a Zoom meeting, or however you might want to do it, and talk to them face-to-face. Maybe not in the same room, but you're, on the computer. So read through. They've got, if you're using Practice Ignition, you send over the document to them to review it. Then let's go through those points, or even, go through it before you send the document over, that they've got something in front of them to be able to go, okay, yep, my commitment, your commitment, yep, okay, I'm sending the document over. You can now sign the document. So at least you've had that face-to-face conversation. No matter where you are, and we are in a remote world now, so it's got to work for your systems. You certainly won't be putting everybody in front of you in the desk, or over the front of the desk, with this remote working. So we've got to find a way of working. So Zoom meetings works well for that.
Yeah.
Jacqueline, you're off mute. Did you want to make a comment? No,
No,
that's all right.
The pure bookkeeping engagement letters, Peter uploaded them all, didn't he?
Yeah, they're all,
Yeah.
they're so Practice Ignition, we do have a strategic relationship with Practice Ignition. So yeah, you're right, Jacqueline, they have all of our engagement letters. So if you're a licensee, our engagement letters and list of services will be uploaded into your Practice Ignition file, and all of our authorizations as well that we have, STP authorizations, BAS authorization, all of those are in there. Yep. I think I've covered off Paul, the
putting on a
questions.
new client, it is so important to make sure you get everything and have a checklist, because if there's something that you've forgotten, it's the one thing that you're going to need in a hurry.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good to have it prepared. So have it, like, even if you're new in business or not quite, organizing, you're starting to organize everything, it's really important to have your onboarding documents ready to go. So when you do get clients and when you're starting to scale, that it does create a system. And that's what, obviously pure bookkeeping is all about, is creating that system for you to use. So if you're not a licensee, creating a system to onboard your clients without having to reinvent the wheel every time that you're putting a client on, to make it a smoother, process. And then it's something that also could be passed over to an operations manager or to an admin staff, that they also do all of those onboarding documents. So, working through that system of being able to onboard your client smoothly. One of the other things also, I think, Sharon, that we talked about the prospect presentation. So even before they're a prospect, that we've got a presentation, and to do a presentation with your clients about, your purpose of your business, like share with the prospects that the vision of your business and the resources of your business, like the staff that you use, the systems that you use, so that they get an idea of the professionalism of your business that they are signing up with. So they get a sense of who you are. And it also helps to create a bit of point of difference for you as well. So you are different to other bookkeepers because you have got this system, and I'm going to step you through. This is my vision. This is the way that we will onboard. This is the way that we will continue our work together. These are the staff that you're going to be, working with. These are the systems that are going to back up everything that I do, no matter who is working on your file. I have staff, I have systems. So it's creating that presentation to show your new clients as well. So that's something you used quite a lot too, Sharon.
Oh, that was, to me, again, pure bookkeeping made me look professional. So I had like all the templates and everything, but you know how powerful it can be to share your vision of what you want to create with somebody. Not only with prospective clients, with prospects and with clients. So that's a really cool thing to do, but also with accountants, because then they can get a sense of what you're trying to create. So then they see, okay, well, if I refer to Sharon, she's going to be able to grow and keep adding bookkeepers because she's got this whole system behind her to help her. So that's all pretty cool. Prospects, clients, and accountants. But the coolest thing of all, when you say to share your vision of where you're going, I remember the biggest strategic alliance I think I've ever built in my career, and I've been obviously in business development most of my life or business, was with an accountant of a large group. And I shared with her what we wanted to do and where we were headed with our business and how we were sort of structured and whatever. And having that conversation with her ultimately ended in her. We took a whole bunch of people out to dinner and we had a really good night. And at the end, she said, "We're so happy that my sister-in-law and I are in business. We're so happy that you guys we were really keen to grow our business." And she said, "We just want to help you do that." And it was like, we must have, because we were just authentically passionate about where we wanted to go, she really wanted to help us. And she was the one that was, signing the checks and sending the referrals through. So from there, that referral, and it still continues now to this day with tenure, with those referrals coming through, just by sharing what we wanted to achieve in our business. And certainly we achieved a lot when we were there, but like ongoingly, what that can mean. Like if you look at how much that conversation was worth to the company and still is now, that's a pretty powerful thing, just for somebody to get excited about our vision. And I think it's also really important to to put some energy and passion behind where you're going and what you're doing, because people then buy into your vision of where you're going. So I think, yeah, it's a really important conversation to have. And I think the thing that I've learned from working with my clients is sometimes it's tricky to know what that is. Like, well, where do I want to go? Where do I want to take this? And how do I even do that? Like, what are the steps to get there? I think you've just got to have faith. You don't need to know the how just now. You just need to know the what at the end. Yeah, I want to build a black belt business. I want to build a business to 700K. You'll figure out the how as you go along. It's just knowing what that looks like at the end. So then you can start sharing that vision and where you want to go with some people. And look, nature abhors a vacuum, and it's called the law of vacuum. So if that's setting that goal of 700K, that's a vacuum, and then nature will try and fill that. So you put that goal out there, be careful what you wish for, because things start happening, because you start behaving in ways that's going to achieve that, right?
Yeah.
But you could have picked me up off the ground when I had that conversation. I'd had a few wines, and we were coming out after the dinner, and there was a full moon, and we were walking back, and she had this conversation where she said, "We just want to help you and Tanya achieve this." I was like, "Oh, so do we." You can help us. So it was kind of like a really nice sort of pivotal moment in the business that made it take off, essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that you are creating once only. The in terms of the engagement letter and the presentation and the that conversation that you're having. So empowering them or engaging them with your business vision. So yeah, certainly, work out what your vision is, bring it into that presentation, and the presentation is only needed to be created the once, but put some time and effort into what exactly that presentation is that you would like to provide to, first-time clients, and really embrace that conversation with them, and get them on board right from the start, and they'll be as excited as you are. It's something that I think bookkeepers don't spend a lot of time in. They spend more time in getting the client, signing them up, getting them up to date. So we put a lot more time in what we know, doing the bookkeeping, and forget about the journey. That that we've got to, if we're wanting to satisfy our clients, it's part of the experience that they are receiving as well, and making it so much easier for them to get this compliance stuff done out of the way, so that we can, then give them more value, keep adding value to them as well. And they will be on board with that if you're giving them that experience along the way. And that's, it's just that presentation right from the start. So, encourage you to work on that. One of the other things that also we were talking about was around making them feel safe and welcome. So, I know you had mentioned that, Sharon, in your, onboarding them, make it okay. Let them know that they can ask questions. Let them know that they might not know all the answers that you are looking for. Let them know that they might get confused and overwhelmed in, what you're providing them. But, it is, embrace them. Let them know that they are welcome to join in with, with my company. And this is a safe environment. We are now a team. So
yeah.
Do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, I do. What I found really interesting, because before I started working with bookkeepers, I didn't really understand. I know, like Tanya, my sister-in-law, is a bookkeeper, so I've known her for 30 years. And I know her personality with how she operates, and we've been in businesses together before. But what I noticed was when we go out, so a lot of the times where I could, I'd take the bookkeeper out to introduce them to the new client. And what I noticed was bookkeepers have got amazing information in their heads about businesses, and what you see in the numbers is gold to a business owner, right? And me not being a bookkeeper, it's like, holy crap, you know all this information about my business. And I felt like when we'd go and introduce it, they weren't sharing that information as freely as what they could. So I'd say afterwards, like, why didn't you like talk to them in like what you can do for them and how you can look in their numbers and everything? Like, oh, well, I feel a bit funny talking about that. I'm like, well, how come? Because you know all this stuff and you're not saying it. So I think that was the first time I realized that bookkeepers are shy to share what they know about the numbers in the business, which is gold to somebody like me who's crap at numbers. Any information that a bookkeeper can share with me about my business, happy days. Like, I'm really, really excited about that. Then I realized when I started signing up clients that these business owners didn't know the numbers either. I'm like, holy crap, we've got business owners that don't really understand P&Ls and balance sheets and numbers and projections. And we've got bookkeepers that are shy to talk about what they know. And I think what happened was I could see there was a bridge between that. So the way I spoke with the clients was like, I get that some people don't get the numbers. I said, I'm really crap at numbers. So that's why I'm really open with saying that to people, because that makes people feel comfortable to say, most of the time they'd say, we don't know either. After a bit of conversation and relationship building, I uncovered the fact that usually the more, if you know DISC, the more high D the person is, the less likely they're going to share that with you. And and I'm not being sexist here.
Dominant.
Sorry?
D being dominant.
D being dominant. So get to the point, get it done. I know everything, make it work, get to work. You're the bookkeeper. So usually somebody like high I, which is my personality, or a C or an S, which is most bookkeepers' personalities, they're kind of more willing to have a conversation around, okay, well, I don't understand that, and we can talk through that. High Ds usually a lot of the times are owners of businesses, so they're a bit more tricky to sort of say, hey, it's okay if you don't know that. So I'd have those conversations with the business owners. Then I'd have the conversations with my bookkeepers, say, hey, don't feel afraid to talk about stuff that may not be just around bank reconciliations and things of the basics or compliance stuff. Be okay to talk about some of that other stuff, because they're not getting it. They don't understand that if they keep operating, you know, operating that way they are, they might be going out of business. And, you know, talk about the ratios. If you know what ratios, talk about those. If you understand and looking at their business in a way that you can help them, don't be afraid to have a discussion around, have you looked at your P&L lately? Maybe we can go through our reports, the reports at the end of every month. So don't be afraid to have those sort of conversations. The other thing that I would do with the sign up as well, and I mean, you don't need to do this, but I found it was really powerful. When I go through the information, all the check sheets and everything from Pure Bookkeeping and sign them up, I'd say, look, you know, your success is really important to me, and we really want to make sure that we wow you, which is some of the stuff that Deb says in the induction sort of stuff. We want to wow our clients. So we want to really wow you. I want you to be so impressed with me that you'll tell everyone about me. And I'd say it in kind of a fun sort of way. Then I'd say at the end, if for some reason the bookkeeper doesn't work out, or there's a personality clash, or it just doesn't work out, I'm the person that you call. You don't talk to them about that. The buck stops with me if it doesn't, something's not working, and you can call me 24/7. And for some reason, that built a lot of trust to begin with. And not once in the 4 years that I was there was I called outside of hours, on the weekend, in the middle of the night. No one called me. But just by saying that statement, I think gave them the confidence that I meant what I was, and I would have done that, but I meant what I said. I meant that their business means everything to me, and I want to do everything I can to deliver a service that's above and beyond what anyone else would offer. And certainly all we did, because I had the backing of the systems and amazing bookkeepers, I knew I was confident in offering that service.
That's possibly backed up by the engagement letter telling them that, you know, these are the hours that we work, or this is the staff member that you're working on. So it would be extreme cases that they would be reaching out to you 24/7, but it's still an offer that just gave them comfort to know that it was there. But like a lot of people on the call are probably cringing, saying, no, I don't want to offer 10 p.m. at night to be answering calls. But, you know, you're putting in boundaries for your normal working relationship, in the extreme cases, if you're going off the rails or whatever, to reach out to me, or if the staff's not working, or something's not working in the business that's supporting you, reach out to me anytime.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I think sole trader tradies like to know that they can come and see you after hours. There's a lot of bookkeepers who say, no, I'm 9 to 5, that's it. No Saturdays, no overnight.
Yeah.
But I've found with tradies, they don't want to give up 2 hours work, come and see you, to pay you to do that. So most of my tradies, I do work after hours for, and I've found that they really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's your point of difference. And, you are, putting that, you're still controlling that. You might have certain days or certain times that you do it for, that it's not just open, but yeah, you're putting a boundary around that as well, but offering that service. Yeah. Cecile, you came off mute before?
Yeah, I was just sort of reinforcing all of that. Is also, as they come to you and they start this new relationship with you, it's all about emphasizing on the partnership part of it. Sometimes, it's like you're a partner in the business by coming and working with them. And the other thing is, this around the ability for them to be able to call you. It may take a few months until they feel settled, and they still have things that keep them up at night. And being able to talk about someone, I can say to them, listen, the ATO is closed right now. They don't care about you, but at 9 o'clock, they probably will. So what about you go and have a good night's sleep? And then, I still remember some of those amazing feelings that really were rewarding for me when I was in business. It was, getting that text message in the morning saying, hey, Cess, I've actually slept last night. Thank you so much. And that didn't happen overnight. But after a 3 months relationship with them, showing and demonstrating how you can support, I think as a person, that was much more rewarding for me than just getting paid at the end of the month. It was like, yeah, I'm doing what I set to do for them, and I'm living my purpose. So yeah, it's pretty awesome when you get there.
Yeah, nice. April, I'm wondering if you would like to come off mute. You've put a comment here. I got this exact feedback from a discovery call this week, that I didn't make him feel safe in this scary money world. So did you want to talk to that?
Yeah, so it was really good feedback, and I'm very grateful to him. He actually let me have access to the video. He recorded the session. So we had a call almost a month ago, and well, the bottom line is he couldn't afford my services, but because he's a coach, he loves to give feedback and coach. So we had a session doing that, and he just gave me tips on the call, which was so good. And I'm not experienced at calls. I am in very early stages of this and finding my feet. So yeah, it's really helpful. And of course, I'm investing in learning how to do all this because I think it's key. But yeah, so he said, I didn't feel safe. He said, if you said things like, I understand, how scary certain things must be for you and how sensitive your finances are and things like that. He said, if you talk about those things, even though they might seem obvious to me, say it. And he said, I would have felt a lot more comforted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the obvious things that, that are second nature to us, that actually small business owners and our clients don't actually either get, or, it's not in their world. Like they're so in their own world. They're coaching business, they can coach people and, do all of those goal setting and blah, blah. But when you're talking money, it's not in his world. And it's, for any businesses, they're scared of cash flow and do I have enough money in my bank account? Why it's not, my profit and loss is much higher than my bank account. The understanding of it all, the wages, the tax, the commitments, the timing.
He also said he wanted to feel that I wasn't going to burden him further, create work for him. So that's another good point that, for me to work on, to make sure that I'm demonstrating how I'm going to make their life better, not worse.
Yeah.
And
that's
being
a really good point.
maybe a bit of authoritarian person in there coming out like you must have shown through somehow. You know, obviously I don't get on calls and do that to people, but maybe it shows through.
Yeah, listen, I think this is a great, like, it was nice for him to sort of give you feedback, but what I always find interesting in that type of feedback, it's actually not a reflection on you. It's actually a reflection of them. So as a really good tip, what I would say is about what you can do is you can actually maybe work on different questions to be able that you can ask people to be able to sort of build and get them to sort of, you know, those open questions. I know they're never easy, but what he was telling you basically is how you felt through the conversation, not what. Yeah, it's always interesting, that sort of feedback. It's like, how do I actually build from there? And I think it's about more potential discovery questions that you can ask to be able to really understand the mind frame of people at that specific time as well. But good on him for really telling you how actually he feels about life at the moment.
I think the bottom line is that we weren't, you know, he wasn't my ideal client. That's what came out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right as well.
It's not many people that can to articulate that either, to know how they feel and how to articulate that to you without just saying no, because it's so much easier for people just to turn away rather than actually have that explanation. So and I guess that's, you know, what we could also share for them is, you know, articulating or see how we feel about, you know, maybe their behavior or whatever. It's having that conversation, keeping the open communication throughout the whole relationship. You can see that it's not easy for, you know, a lot of people, but it's so important to keep us on track, and we want to know what's in their head. Really, we want to know that they're still loving the service, and that they're not starting to build over resentment or you know, oh, she's asking for that information again, or, you know, she makes it so hard, I've got to put up every receipt. You know, if we have that communication of explaining why we need certain things right from the get-go, you know, why do we need those missing invoices? Why do we need you to answer the information we need? Why the timing is so important? If, you know, it's all part of the engagement letter, all part of that onboarding process, then just makes it a lot clearer for them to. And, you know, you're getting those awkward conversations out with the nice feeling of, you know, let's get going together. Let's start our journey together. So it's that, you know, yin and yang.
I think the PBS system has made, although I don't look at it at the moment, made me more professional in my approach to people. And because I know I have a professional system behind me to back me up. But when we talk to clients, we need to let them know we have that professionalism, plus know that our job is all about compliance. It's all about the stuff that's too hard for them to do. Like one of my clients, I didn't realize that he wasn't getting the apprentice rebate because it was just too hard for him to do. And he didn't realize that I could do that for him. So I've said to him, you know, like, if you get something that's too hard, just flick it across to me and ask me what we need to do for it. And we will do it. And let them know when we're talking to them that we are about compliance. So therefore we might come across as rigid, do this, this, and this, but we don't mean it. We just want to get it across as simply as possible. At the same time, put ourselves back in their shoes. When we went into our first lecture, class, whatever, how did we feel? What did we know? And a lot of these people have gone into business because they were good at something. And someone said to them, you should make that a business. And they have no concept of the numbers or the compliance that's involved, and we're there to teach that to them. But it's getting to know what their personality is like, so that we know how to give it to them. Like some people just want to be told, I need this, this, and this, and do it. And others need to be told with fluff and clouds and sparkles. So that comes down to your ideal client as well as with it. But just, it's hard to know everybody. But if you say to them, okay, I am compliant, and I may come across as being bossy, but do you want to have money in the bank at the end of the year or not? It just depends on your summing up of the client. And it's a hard road, but be professional and have something behind you to make you feel professional.
Yeah, that's great. And it's just creating that system so that you're not going off track, and you've got just that organization. If you don't have PB, create the system, whatever it is that's going to support you, that's going to keep you professional and keep the transition of onboarding that new client and building that relationship with them, whatever that is. Just build that, create that, because it's scalable. You create it once and you just keep scaling it, and then you just keep putting staff on, and it's staff and clients on. It's just just bringing out the same process. So thanks for that.
Use everything as a learning experience. Like, learn from what, maybe take on a client that's not your ideal client for a while to see what you need to change to. Is it me that's causing it, or is it them? Am I being too realistic? Am I being too bossy, or like, use it to look at yourself. Too many people in life blame somebody else. So look at yourself and say, well, like, am I always late with it? Or like, what am I doing that's stuffing up this relationship? Or what do I need to get this person on board? And I think if you start with your checklists or forms, or be professional to start with, and you'll only go up from there. Yeah. It's a reminder. Sharon said she's meeting a new client tomorrow, so critical time. So that's awesome. Did you want to have a comment, Sharon?
Sharon Francisco or Sharon Law?
Sharon Law. She came off mute.
I'm meeting a new client tomorrow, and I found out that she is quite a prominent person in the community, and you probably all know I'm in a new town. I've only been here a year, where people have been here for generations, and so I am a bit apprehensive about going to meet her, because I know, like, she's, I know her status in the town, if you know what I mean. But if I do a good job, then maybe it'll, I'll get more people. That's right. And she's just a person just like you. She's just a human. She has her own fears and inhibitions, and they might be different to you, but she's just a person. Like, I used to work for an accounting firm, like one of the top 9 accounting firms, and we used to work with billionaires and millionaires, and you'd walk into the room and I was like 20. You think, what on earth could I be contributing to walking in this room? But it's like, and like all through their career, it's just, well, you're a person, I'm a person, I have a role, what can I do for you? Like, obviously I didn't have conversations with these people, I was just part of the team. But it's like, it doesn't help to be overwhelmed, to be, like stuck in the lights, it's just like, you're there for a role. So she has engaged you. She has, approached you. You're going to sit in front of her. She wants to hear from you. So she has chosen you. So you have every right to be there and to be able to perform the role that you can for her. So it's just, taking a breath before you go in. And having your documentation, like, if you've got your showing, your, we used to have a manual to show people what you do, have your presentation,
Yeah, Sharon, you could probably even talk to this of, what to prepare for and the feelings that are going to come out.
Yeah, I would say, Sharon, there's no mistakes in life. This was meant to happen for you, and we all go through this little cycle of like when things are just on fire, and it's like you can't seem to do anything wrong. Like you get golden clients like you're about to get, and that could set you up with her influence and what she can say about you in that town. That could have amazing repercussions for your business and you. Like that dinner out for me with the full moon and the wine and the conversation just had massive repercussions for our business. And then, the other cycle that you go through where nothing you can seem to do can go right. And you go, what am I doing? Nothing is working here. So I reckon you've got to take these opportunities and just run with them and know that it doesn't always happen that way. It sort of goes in cycles. And yeah, just go in and be you. I think just being you, and you're a clever cookie. You'll go in and do a great job and just have a conversation with her. The other thing that I was going to say too, just when on our conversations before, was about with communication, especially in email. And this is one of the things I used to talk about with my bookkeepers is just don't be afraid to round off the edges with your communication. So anyone that has an email from me would know that I always start off with, I hope you're fantastic today. I hope all is well with you. Like whatever I say, like I have a few little different lines that I say. You can even put that in the email signature to have as a greeting. And then at the bottom, I always say something like, be wonderful, or have a terrific day, or something that's just soft. And the reason I do that is because it makes me sound more friendly and approachable. But I also noticed with my bookkeepers when they started, I'd look at their emails as part of, our bookkeepers had to be in the office for the first 100 billable hours in our little garage setup. And so Tanya could monitor the bookkeeping side and I could monitor the client relations side, really. And one of the things I noticed with the emails were very short and sharp. For them, they weren't. They were just asking for information. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. You've got to be a bit more friendly. They're like, what? Like, really? I'm like, yeah, you've got to be more friendly. So I'd get them to have that greeting and sign off. And that doesn't even have to, that can go into an email signature. So that doesn't even have to take your time. And the other thing, just on the phone, to just have that's why DISC is so amazing. If you haven't done DISC is amazing. It's a personality profiling thing that's part of my program. But if it's a high D, they're not going to want to talk about the weekend. But pretty much everyone else, the ICSs, have a chat about how their weekend was, how their daughter is. Try to come have a human aspect about that first before you ask them for their whatever, XYZ. So I would say just round off the edges with the communication. But yeah, definitely, Sharon, I think the meeting that you go into, all the stuff from pure bookkeeping, the checklist, that agreement with this is my commitment to you and this is your commitment to me. Don't be afraid to be a leader in that situation. You're in your happy place. You know what you're talking about. So come across with, authority, confidence, look at her in the eye and, take a coffee in too. I used to do that. I'd always take a coffee in for me and for them, and it kind of softens the relationship a little bit too to begin with, because I go, oh, that's nice. Thank you for that. So, yeah.
I don't think I can do that because this is our bush.
Oh, even better, take a thermos.
Oh, that's a good idea. So
Yeah.
Take one of your herbal thingies as a gift.
That's a good idea. Good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, that's
Just
a
that
great
personal
idea.
touch. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, just as we're finishing up today, we've got another 5 minutes. So I just love to get your takeaways from today. Like, did you have an aha moment? Either pop it into the chat or into Facebook comments. And for those that would like to come off mute and talk about what your takeaway was for today, what your aha moment, love to get some feedback of what each of you have thought of, what's your biggest takeaway from today's conversation, and I will read them out, or come off mute. Anybody want to come off mute while everyone else is talking?
Can I just say off the back of that, and I was going to mention this earlier, we're moving into a world of video and communicating, and we're building our personal brand. And the hardest thing to do is do a video and put it on LinkedIn, and the feelings you have when you press that post and you go, I hope people like it. This is our training ground, guys. You're in a really safe place to start sharing. So I really encourage you to come off mute, show your video, and even if you say, that was great, is all, and that use this forum as our training ground to build your confidence. So when you do start posting videos and start getting out there on social media with, you know, with more of an open sort of video or Facebook lives or things like that, you're going to have this as a training ground. I'll shut up now, sorry. Go.
Yeah, I'm going to say something.
Lisa.
Hi.
Nice.
Hi.
I did comment in the notes about, you know, how we were talking about the client onboarding checklist. So
Yeah.
there's a few of us that did together. Yeah, I've been working through that. I've just started onboarding a new client, and I was going through the checklist, and I've added to my workflow. So that was really good. So thanks for putting that together and then sharing it. I just shared it with Jacqueline, because Jacqueline messaged me before and she didn't have it. So I don't know whether, Katrina, it's worth putting it into this, I don't know, into this recording or not, but yeah, it's really helpful. So thanks. Yeah.
Nice.
I think Katrina's frozen though.
Katrina is frozen. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Sharon
Right.
Lease, would you like to say something? You're on mute, lovely.
I said hello.
Hello. What did you get out of today?
Probably the same. Not so much.
Yeah,
But I sometimes wonder, do I over soften my emails? So just having that there and mentioned was actually good, because I do that, you know, when I know some of my clients at the moment, their children are on holidays. So it's like, I hope you're surviving the holidays and staying warm, because it's cold here in Brisbane.
Yeah. And I'll add also, you do it really well, Sharon, and the relationship you have, if you don't mind me sharing, stop me if you do, the relationship you have with your accountants is beautiful. I've been to Sharon's office a couple of times and listened to her talk to her. They're like buddies. You have been very clever in the way you built those relationships with your accountants, and it's your friendly sort of manner that they love, and they feed into that, and you know it works. You get beautiful referrals through from your accountants. So yeah, it works, that softened sort of communication.
And you can work that out with your clients as well. Some of them I know don't like it, obviously D's, and so I still do it, but I don't maybe fluff it up quite as much as
the other ones.
These. Yeah.
By the same token, if you've got somebody who's really abrupt, I don't know how else to say it, like that, you've got to make sure that you're not too fluffy with them, because they're just going to flick you off. So if you've got somebody that is really matter of fact, be soft but matter of fact back to them.
And it is actually amazing. You will find how much you can, in fact, soften them a wee bit.
Yeah, it's called mirroring, and it's really clever to do that. Like if you're mirroring that behavior, it works beautifully. But it's also, if they're too abrupt, you don't want to do the too abrupt stuff. But if you're mirroring in that way, it makes it a lot easier. We lost Katrina again. Oh no, there she is.
Yeah, the other.
Sorry about that.
The other thing is, you're absolutely right, Sharon. It's about, you know, if they can ditch it, they can take it.
Yeah,
and it's usually how D's work as well. They don't mind the way if you answer the same way as them as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's awesome.
Good. So I'm not sure what happened in the last few minutes, but I'm sure Sharon managed to, I don't know what was going on. I lost power. So I think we're all good. Was there any last comments? It's the top of the hour, so we're going to finish up. And people have added in their chat. I'd love for you to take the comments that you put into the chat, put them over into the Successful Bookkeeper group, so those watch it later can see the takeaways that are worthwhile watching this video. So if you're able to, copy that, cut and post it over at the Successful Bookkeeper where the live video is, that would be awesome. But thank you so much, everyone, for attending today. Really appreciate a lot of engaging communication or conversation. So thanks for sharing stories. And Sharon, thank you so much for joining me. It was a great topic. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved it. It's good.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, everyone. Next week, we're going to be talking about what we would say to our younger self. So that'll be a fun conversation as well.
It's going to be lots of fun, that one. I can't wait for that one. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks. See you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy lockup, New South Wales.
You're locked.
Yep, I'm locked up.
Oh, well, I hope you become unlocked very soon. I better jump off. See ya.